just to touch on to the that last question I asked, do you think we're going to go back to 50,000, 60,000 seats arenas in this current sport? Because at the moment, football, there's no crowds at the moment. They're planning on using the FIFA crowd noises in a few matches in the Premier League. Okay. That's something that's out there. How do you think that it's going to affect the sport in terms of boxers, and then do you think they're always going to fight behind closed doors? How do you think this pans out for us going forward? Not even 3-4 months while we're still kind of in this global pandemic. That once the governments of the global leaders decide that, okay, coronavirus can be handled, do you think we can go back to how we was before? Or
absolutely, it will go back, and that's, I mean, if you know anything about me, I don't think you would expect another answer other than that it will go back. And I have to think like that, and you have to think like that. I mean, from what I understand, New Zealand is the first country to declare the country corona-free.
Corona-free, yeah, I read that.
See? So, if it's corona, that means it's business as usual. So, if it's good for one, it's going to be good for everyone eventually. It's just a case, as I always say, everything is timing. Everything is timing, and we got to just ride the storm. You know, we've had epidemics, pandemics before in the past. Maybe not on this level. Not
in my lifetime anyway, at least.
I mean, not in most people's lifetime. But I feel that we will get back to normality. I mean, with all the technology, with all the doctors and the scientists and the people, you know, these vaccines and stuff like that, you have to. Otherwise, what does that do for the economy? What does that do for the sports industry? Because a lot of the revenue comes from the gate.
Yeah, gate tickets, sure.
You see what I'm saying? So, but then it will actually change the whole landscape of sport in general if there is no longer going to be crowds allowed.
Well, there's talk of virtual reality, people being able to put those Oculus, I think they're called Oculus, on your eyes, watch the fight, and then it's as if you're all there at the same time. I mean, that's talked for future, but I don't know.
Nonsense. Nonsense. That's nonsense. So where's the excitement? So now you're living in a virtual world. It just doesn't sit with me. We've seen it in films. So anything in a film has come from a man's mind. So if it comes from a man's mind, there's a possibility it could be true. It could become a reality. But I would like to think that's not going to come a reality in my lifetime. And I would like to think that eventually, you know, with all these great people that we have in the world, these doctors and what have you, these scientists, that they can come up with a vaccination or something, a tablet or something that is just like the normal flu. You know, you get sick, you go doctors, you get antibiotics. Done. It's still 50. What's to say that when we was in the O2 jam up, there wasn't already coronavirus there? But we were still standing up together. We're still, you know, what happens to the school system where now children can't hug each other? You understand? The children can't run to the teacher and give the teacher a hug at playtime. Where is the life gonna be in all of this? So it's a very serious topic, but being a lifelong optimistic person, I would like to think that by next year, early next year, we'll be back to normal.
Okay. I've got to talk about what's currently going on. BLM. Yes. I've been and marched.
You went and marched?
I went and marched. Yeah, I had to. I had to.
Okay. Tell me something. Why did you march?
Someone asked me that this morning. It was nice to finally be around a lot of people, black people as well, just being positive about an agenda that makes sense for the generation now, which is myself, and the younger generations. It was nice to finally feel that there is a common agenda or common understanding that police brutality and systematic racism are topics that we shouldn't be afraid to speak about in public. If for example, I've got friends that are white, Asian and Chinese, I shouldn't be afraid to speak my truth if I've experienced something like that. Whereas before, I felt like it was an issue if a black person says, "Oh, the system's racist." People say, "Oh, you're being paranoid, or you're going on too much. Racism is done." It's a fact that it hasn't. Racism is not wiped out. It's not eradicated. So that's what I marched for anyway.
Can it ever be eradicated?
Someone asked me that as well. Do I think racism? I think.
See, I'm becoming the interviewer.
Yeah, I think systematic racism can be eradicated because systematic racism is something that's been put into place. So if it's been put into place to stop people, black people, to work harder to find a way of getting to the same place where other people are just walking in and getting those opportunities, I think that can be eradicated. I think will people across the world stop hating one another? I think no, but I do think systematic racism can be eradicated, and prejudice at people who have normal 9-to-5 jobs. I think that can be eradicated because systems can be put into place to be able to identify, and also now they're willing to listen. You know, if someone says, "Well, I feel like I've been racially profiled at work in some kind of capacity," or if a police officer has arrested them and they feel like it was the same being stopped 3 times in a week, or the police officer decided to punch them or whatever,
yes.
and there's some level of police brutality, now the globe is ready to listen. That's the only part of racism that I think if somebody hates a person because of their colour, can that go away? I'm not so sure about that.
Yes. I was interested to find or hear your opinion on what you think marching and protesting would do to help that, because we done it with Stephen Lawrence. You know, Stephen Lawrence is the person that was with Stephen Lawrence. We grew up together, me and Dwayne Brooks. We used to go holiday camp together. He's an MP now, and I've seen him campaign, march, even get into politics. But not that much change over the years. I mean, this case that everybody's protesting, this worldwide protest happened in America. You know, but there's a lot of cases of police brutality in the UK. And
many, man.
It's such a touchy subject. I've kind of not. Anyone who knows me knows my feeling about Black lives and how we can come together, and that's always been the issue for me. I've always been like, I ain't begging no one for nothing. Why am I gonna ask the people that don't want good for me to help me? The people that benefit from keeping me down and profit from keeping me down. Sometimes I think, why would I go and ask them for help? You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, maybe nobody knows the solution. That's what I would definitely say. Nobody knows the solution, because
I disagree. I think,
all right, let me tell you.
I think there's clear solutions that.
All right, Dan, I'm listening.
I think there's clear solutions to systematic racism that can be solved, and I think there's solutions to.
What are they? That's what I'm asking.
All right. So, for example, before I started going down the self-employed route, you know, I've worked for corporate companies.
Yes.
Black people struggle to get to senior leadership positions.
Yes.
And that's just plain and simple because of systematic racism.
Okay.
And had I not experienced that firsthand, I probably wouldn't be doing this now.
Okay. So that's how you dealt. That's how you reacted to the problem. So you didn't beg someone else for a job. You set up your own job.
Yes. But at the same time, there's younger children out there that do want to be bankers at high levels, that do want to be lawyers at high levels, that want to be neuros.
Well, who owns the banks?
Well, specific individuals.
But this is what I'm trying to say, brother. When I say, what is the answer? That's what I want to know. I know what the problems are. We know what the problems are. And the reason why I say I personally don't know the answer, because I've seen it over the years. I've seen the protesting, I've seen the marching, I've seen the violent stance, and I've seen the non-violent stance. I've seen Malcolm X say by any means necessary and then get assassinated. I've seen Martin Luther King say that we should all love one another and then get assassinated. You see what I'm saying? So I'm looking for now, which I don't profess to have, an answer, an active action that we can take other than marching, because the generation now are not doing something new. The marching now is not new. Go back 10, 20, 50, 100 years.
Yeah.
We've done this before. We need action. We need people like yourself to not get tired of asking people for stuff and set things up themselves. You understand? Maybe it could help if we had our own bank, our own system, and still have the attitude of equal opportunities for everyone. So then maybe you have the black people in senior positions because it's a black-owned bank, and then you can show that you're not the same as the others, and employ white people, employ Asian people, treat people fairly. But I think I always wonder, and I'm saying this, I always wonder how you can expect the A family to be more concerned about the B family before the A family. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's why I say I don't really know what the answer is. The way I've dealt with it in the past, because I come from a very freedom fighter type family and history. I don't need to go into that, but I come from a generation of freedom fighters. But me, I have to look at it like if the program that those before me was exactly the same and nothing changed, or nothing has changed, or even may have even got worse, then we need a new plan of action. What is good about this whole situation now is that for the first time that I can remember is that you're seeing whites get involved, Asians get involved, people that realize that it's not right. It's not right, and that's because now there's a camera on the situation. and what is it? Now you're not dealing with just black, you're dealing with good against evil.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
This is what it is now. This is what
it's good against evil. So we've now evolved, but still the people that have taken the most hell have been black people. So that's why the issue is so on Black Lives Matter, because we've had it more than anyone else. But eventually we have to move from Black Lives Matter to everybody matters. But for this period in time, it's all about why black people are continued or have been continued to be just looked upon as not even human. And again the onus is on a lot of us. My dad taught me, son, never look at yourself as inferior or second to nobody. And that's why I talk with so much confidence, because I ain't looking at a man. You may be looking, again, we don't control what another man thinks. He may be looking at me thinking, look at this black fool, you understand? You ain't never gonna get up to this level. That may be how he looks on me, but I can't look at myself as that. I have to build for myself, build for my family, and then make decisions, because I'm in those elevated positions where I can make decisions and say, I'm not now employing you because you're a black person, because you're Asian, or because I'm employing you because you can do the job. You see what I'm saying? So we know what's right. We know what's right. It's now trying to influence others what's right, and they can't continue to just judge people because of the colour of their skin.
Fair enough. There was Anthony Joshua got some backlash about being at the march in Watford and the speech that he gave.
Yes.
Are you aware of it at all?
Well, Coach G phoned me from the march.
Okay.
He's a young man.
Was you surprised by that? That he got backlash from his own fans?
Well, that's always going to happen. When you're a public figure, you're open for everything. It ain't going to be all rosy, because there's always people that don't want good for you. There's always people, remember, bad press sells. So again, this is what I'm trying to say. I asked myself, what is the answer?
Mm.
And I'm being honest with you, it's only love. You see my page. It's just love. Love is the key. Love is the key, because you know there's going to be someone that's negative. You know there's someone that doesn't want Anthony Joshua to be in the position that he is. Because it's life, it's polarity. There has to be a yin and a yang. There has to be a good and a bad. So there's never going to be a time, whether it's Anthony Joshua today or someone tomorrow, that's going to say something that's going to please everybody, because you just can't please everybody. The young man is exercising his right to freedom of speech, to be able to talk, and he spoke. He said, someone's telling me that it was written for him or something like that.
It was written, yeah. Some people are saying it wasn't from the heart. Some people are saying that he shouldn't have said what some people believe that he shouldn't even be speaking about Black Lives Matter, and not to take so much off the subject, it's interesting because celebrities like Anthony Joshua, and I've been watching a Michael Jordan documentary.
Yes. Great documentary.
Michael Jordan never really touched on political issues.
Yeah, because he just was interested in being the best basketball player.
So he says.
Yes.
And I just feel like, are those people that are coming out saying Anthony Joshua said, are they some of them borderline his business partners? Are they some of them like he's the fans that don't look at Anthony Joshua as a black man, just look at him as a great boxer, as a commodity? I don't know. I just want to know what you thought about, because that's what I personally thought.
Again, it's understanding life. I understand life, so I don't get twisted. I always know there's going to be people that don't agree with me. I always know there's going to be people that don't like me. We are all making assumptions. As Anthony Joshua said that the script was written for him.
I think, I don't want to say it on video and then it turns out that, but you know what, according to what I read is that he didn't write that the speech. He didn't write. Somebody didn't want to speak up, so he, being him, decided to speak on the matter and use that speech that was written. But I mean, for someone
did he say that?
Did he say that? Do you know? I can check it.
But this is what I'm trying to say. Again, we've got to be careful about how we put news out, because as Anthony come out and said, this speech was written for me, and all I did was read off a script, or how do we know that? I'm not saying this is the case. How do we know that he just wanted to be like a bride or a groom that doesn't want to mess up their lines when they get there, so write things down on a paper so they don't forget? How do we know that wasn't the case?
We don't. And again, it's rumors. So as I say, whatever the case, Anthony Joshua said what he said, and a man saying one bad thing doesn't discount all the good things. It doesn't discount all the good things that he's done. And none of us are perfect. He's a public figure, so when you're a public figure, you always stand a chance of public scrutiny and public backlash. But listen, he won't be the first person who said something that has rallied the people, and he won't be the last. Fair enough. If you watch the full video, the speech was passed around. So this, I found it. So this is Anthony Joshua's tweet.
Yes.
If you think I'm a racist, go yourself. If you watch the full video, the speech was passed around for someone to read, and I took the lead. I personally spoke from the heart about the Watford community. Ideas of us personally investing 7 figures to create unity and opportunities and adding change to the African Caribbean community. Shops aren't the issue here. Before you talk, beep, you better boycott racism. I said what I said, and I'll act.
Okay. To
make change. So yeah, he didn't write it. He took the lead of what was said. Okay.
Well, again, I mean, it's not complicated.
Yeah.
You're gonna say things that some people agree with and some people disagree with. Let's not forget about what the true nature of the protest is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Let's not make this into the anti-Joshua problem.
Yeah.
Bro, it's not that, man.
Yeah, of course.
You understand? It's a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem and a bigger issue that we all have to address. And the reason why I said to you right from the top, I don't know what the answer is, because I don't. I don't. You have people who are far more educated than me, far more able to explain certain issues than me. Yeah, they can talk it, but nothing ain't happen. It's the same. So whether I can talk in the Queen's English and explain myself in a manner that most can understand, what is actually happening? So we have to address that before anything. And this ain't the Anthony Joshua problem case. This is the global case. And Anthony Joshua, being a public figure, said something what some people didn't like. But as he just said, he knows his heart. Every man knows their heart and every man knows their mind. So it is what it is.
I think I'm going to leave it there, Tunde.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for giving up time, as you always do. Dream
you
it, believe it, become it in these residents.
Man, there you go.
I don't even want to say where we're at. I just know that I don't come here much often.
Come on, bro.
So,
elevation, love, positivity, focus. We actually create our realities. We do, and you know, for me, my dream is not even 10% there. This is just the beginning. You know, boxing is my life. That's my focus as well. But again, if one man can do it, another man can do it, and that's how we got to think. And we got to live our lives the best way we can. And the more of us that live this way, the stronger we become. The more we have the ability to do things for ourselves and not ask people for things.
Oh, one last question before you go. I had to ask this. Do you think Dillian's gonna get his shot by February 21st? I was meant to ask you that about Dillian's situation, and I find that situation a bit tricky now as we're going through this pandemic and there's the rematch.
We don't know.
And then
we actually don't know. Dillian's been promised a lot of things and they've never delivered. So I don't know, you know, because of the way boxing is at the moment, you know, financially, fighters may want to just sit on the bench until this whole thing is over rather than fight, and that's their choice. You know, maybe hopefully through all of this, Dillian might be given a belt because the champions don't refuse to fight him. Who knows, that can happen. Because I think it was Devon Haney who was given a belt.
Yeah. Then it was stripped off him though, right?
It was stripped. No, I think
then he got it back.
And then he got it back. Yeah. So, you know, the wacky world of boxing, anything can happen. So, my support, I'm always going to support Dillian, and I want it for him. And you know, he's proven that he definitely deserves his shot. You know, let's all put up the Dillian White posters because the man deserves it.
He does deserve it, man. No doubt.
Sir.
No doubt. Well, thanks for everything. I already know that AJ Fury.
Come on.
When that does happen.
Yep.
We saying 21 or we saying 22?
22. That ain't happening next year.
Trilogy?
The trilogy has to happen. It's a contract.
And who do you think walks out once the dust is settled on top? Now that you're now not being not saying you was being biased before, but now that you also accept what Fury has gone on and accomplished.
Anthony Come on.
I like that.
Yeah, I ain't watching none of them.
Okay,
but
cool.
yeah. I don't want to give. Listen, man. I don't train none of them. I'm just a fan, and I just want to see all of them fight, and I want to see the outcome of all of them. I don't have a vested interest in none of them.
No, of course not. But
the fact that I'm a boxing fan, so let's get it on.